Hi, I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about four soils, or possible conditions of the human heart. It is important that you understand each of these moving forward in your new life as a follower of Jesus. I hope you're still feeling a spiritual high. Few things compare to that initial sense of God's love and personally experiencing the power of His forgiveness and grace when you ask Jesus to save you. Jesus has started a wonderful new work in your heart, but you have to stay focused on Him for that to continue. I want to quickly share with you a story Jesus told His disciples about the four different ways our hearts might respond to His word. In the book of Matthew, chapter 13, starting at verse 3, it says, "Listen, a farmer went out to plant some seeds. As he scattered them across his field, some seeds fell on a footpath, and the birds came and ate them. Other seeds fell on shallow soil with underlying rock. The seeds sprouted quickly because the soil was shallow. But the plants soon wilted under the hot sun, and since they didn't have deep roots, they died. Other seeds fell among thorns that grew up and choked out the tender plants. Still other seeds fell on fertile soil, and they produced a crop that was 30, 60, and even 100 times as much as been planted. Anyone who has ears to hear should listen and understand." A few verses later, starting at verse 18, Jesus explains the story. Now listen to the explanation of the parable about the farmer planting seeds. The seeds that fell on the footpath represents those who hear the message about the kingdom and they don't understand it. Then the evil one comes and snatches away the seed that was planted in their hearts. The seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear the message and immediately receive it with joy. But since they don't have deep roots, they don't last long. They fall away as soon as they have problems or are persecuted for believing God's word. The seed that fell among the thorns represents those who hear God's word, but all too quickly, the message is crowded out by the worries of this life and the lure of wealth, so no fruit is produced. The seed that fell on good soil represents those who truly hear and understand God's word, and they produce a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as has been planted. The seed in this story is God's word. This is the truth about Jesus that you must accept and believe to be saved. We call this the gospel, or the good news. The first soil is a path. It represents a heart that has been hardened by life. It is closed off to the truth about Jesus, and nothing gets in. Then the enemy easily comes and steals away those seeds so they cannot develop into anything good for that person. The second soil represents a heart that is shallow. This type of person is completely ruled and controlled by their feelings. They might hear about Jesus and get excited initially, but it only lasts while things are going easy. We really have to be on guard about letting our hearts become like this. There's a good chance you aren't going to feel like coming back to church next Sunday. You might not feel like watching the short videos we're going to be sending you this week. I want to encourage you to fight back against your feelings and ask Jesus to help you to keep taking steps forward each day. The third soil is the most common. It represents the overwhelmed heart. If we're honest, we can all admit that life is often hard. There is work, family, friends, all kinds of other variables to consider. The danger of this type of heart is that it is busy. The enemy uses busyness to distract us, to keep us from being able to focus on what is important. You are going to find all kinds of excuses not to pursue Jesus or to come back to church. Don't give in. If you make growing in your relationship with Jesus a priority, you will never regret it. The fourth soil is the heart that is fertile. To be fertile, it must be prepared. Preparation requires intentionality. Even the best soil can become unfertile if left sitting too long. It will get trampled on and hardened, swept away by the storms of life, or overgrown with weeds. To keep our hearts ready for everything that God has for us takes time and attention. The result of taking time and attention is growth. If you stay with this, pretty soon you will find new life breaking through and growing up into something that will produce good fruit in your life. The promise of the good soil, having a heart ready to receive from God, is that it will produce 30, 60, even 100 times what was sown. Jesus wants you to live an abundant life. In John chapter 10, verse 10, it tells us, "The thief's purpose is to steal and to kill and destroy. My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life." Satan is the thief. Jesus' purpose for you is that rich and satisfying life. Each day, you need to take a look at yourself and honestly ask what condition your heart is in. If you notice any of the qualities of the first three soils, hardness, overly emotional, easily distracted, you can ask Jesus and us for help. The more you pursue your relationship with Jesus, the better condition your heart will be in.